Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Indiana Woods Outdoors, Big Buck Hunter. Kind of a different setting here. You usually see me in my forestry mulcher, but tonight I'm going to talk to you all about broadheads that I use. You're going to see a kind of a consistent, theme that I use here, and it's some I've used in the past, and some that are using currently, and ones that I will continue to use, and ones that I will never use again, but I still have some of them. So the first broadhead, one of the first broadheads I ever killed a deer with was 3-blade, 125 grain Muzzy. I've actually killed one of the biggest deer I've ever killed with one of these. They are a phenomenal head. I wish they still sold them in a 6-pack. I used to be able to get a 6-pack for like $20. Now 3-packs like 30. So just times times changes. Also have used the 4-blade MX4 Muzzy. And I'm not sponsored by any of these broadhead companies, by the way. Another phenomenal broadhead. They fly really good. And I've also used some stuff in my early ages that, when I was younger, that, I didn't have a whole lot of money. And these broadheads will still work, and they're still going to make a lethal harvest of your animal. They're going to do a really good job. They just don't cost a whole lot of money, and you don't have to spend $40, $50, $60, $70 on a set of broadheads, people. You just don't. If you're just getting into it, you can go to Walmart and you can buy a pack of Allens that look like, let me find it here, that look like this one right here, and this broadhead here will do the job. This is an Allen razor tip. This broadhead here, put in the right spot, it will do the job. It will do exactly the same thing that this broadhead here does. So none of these broadheads are bad broadheads for that matter. Every one of them will humanely take down any animal that you shoot with them. But I have used the cheap Allens. I can't remember how old this is, but it's, several years old. Also have used this little Allen here when I went to traditional. I thought I would give them a shot because they got more of a needle point, kind of a cut-on contact type design with a 3-blade. But I wanted more weight out front. But this is a nice little head. It's only like 3/4 of an inch diameter, maybe an inch diameter cut. Let me kind of go back over these. You got your 3-blade Muzzy. That's an 1.1 inch. The 4-blade Muzzy was an inch and a 1/16, I believe. This Allen here, that one was an 1 1/8, I believe. And like I said, none of these broadheads are bad. Absolutely none of them are bad. Here's one I actually used a few years ago because I got them cheap at Rural King. I was able to get them for like $6 a pack for 3 of them. I mean, $2 a piece for broadheads, and it's kind of got the old Copeland twister style look to it. Kind of offset, and it's an 1 1/8 inch as well. I personally prefer fixed blade broadheads. That's just my personal opinion on it. There is one expandable here, which is a split fire, I believe it is. 3-blade split fire. It's got the little rubber O-ring, and I'm not saying it's a bad broadhead. I think I did kill a deer with this. I'm just not an expandable person. We got enough mechanical objects with releases and bows and everything else. When I got a 150-inch buck on the line, do I really want to hope this opens? Do I really want that in the back of my mind that, okay, this might not open? And only that, I mean, you hit a shoulder blade, something like that, these blades tend to break off real easy. I can honestly say on most of these fixed blades, I've never had a problem with a blade breaking. I can't say I've not had a blade bend, because I have, but I've never had a blade break. It don't matter whether it was the Muzzy or this little guy here. I have had blades bend on those. 9 times out of 10, these, I've had them break, just totally snap off. One fixed blade broadhead that I used here a while back, and I killed a ton of deer with these things, and they were a really, really good broadhead. for the design. And I mean, when I talk about taking something down, taking it down quick, it was the Toxic by Flying Arrow Archery. These here, they put a 7/8 inch hole, and they called it a Toxic because it made it look like a toxic sign there that, you know, I don't know if you can really see that real well or not, but it makes that, you know, it makes a pretty good hole. And I'll tell you right now, they'll put a deer down quick. I mean, it'll put one down real quick. Problem I had with them is, there again, you hit a bone, you bend a blade. And I like durability when I'm using a broadhead, especially when they're costing $50, $60 for a pack of 3. I want durability. I want something that's going to last shot after shot after shot without bending or breaking blades. Now, I do have a concept broadhead here that a lot of people have not seen before. It's actually old. It's probably 20 years old or older. Some people will recognize it, but it's this dude right here. It's called an Adam broadhead. These blades are not sharp at all. As you can see, I can run my finger across it. But what they were supposed to do is they were supposed to collapse when they hit a bone so you could shoot through the bone and get the most penetration. This broadhead here weighed 100 grains. I've never used these on a deer. I did not like the concept. I had a friend of mine give me this, and I use it more of a conversation piece. They're like, man, what's the wildest broadhead you've ever used? And I'll pull this one out, and I said, I've never used it, but that's the wildest design I've ever seen of a broadhead. I've been told that they penetrate really well, which, I mean, why wouldn't they? There's nothing there. But I was also told that these titanium springy blades here, that if you hit a real hard bone, they collapse. They don't spring back open like they're supposed to. Really don't know. Never used them. So I just got this laying around, just, you know, like I said, more of a conversation item. But it was called an Adam head, I think. Never really used it that much. The broadheads that I do use consistently, though, and I've been using them for going on probably 10 years now, is a Simmons Shark broadhead. Simmons Shark makes a range of broadheads. I've actually got a broadhead now that has replaceable blades. The replaceable blade broadhead that they have is called a Mako, and it comes in 100 grains, and it's got a little set screw right here. You can see that little set screw there, and you can pull that screw out, and these blades slide out. The main cutting blade is 50 thousandths thick. I mean, that's a thick, heavy blade. And then I believe the bleeders are either a 37 or a 40 thousandths. So just to give you an idea, the main cutting blades on this Allen, I think, are 25 thousandths. I know the muzzies are 30 thousandths. So the bleeders, just the bleeders on the Simmons, are thicker than the main cutting blades of the muzzy. I do like Simmons broadheads. I have not met Dave Ology in person. I have talked to him on the phone quite a bit. And when I started getting into traditional archery, which you don't have to use on traditional archery, you can shoot them off a compound as well. But when I was starting to get into traditional archery, he said, I sell a lot of XYZ heads, and we'll talk about that head here in a minute. And I said, well, I don't want to spend, $50 on a set of heads that I'm going to use one time, and they don't fly right, and I'm never going to use them again. And he says, well, I'll tell you what. He says, I'll send you a pack of heads and try them out. If you don't like them, mail them back. No harm, no foul. If you do like them, just send me a check, And I was like, no harm in there. So he mailed me a package of heads, and the first head I ever used with David Ology was this guy right here. This is the Simmons Tree Shark 190 grain, 2 1/8 inch cut. I mean, that is a big whopper of a head. And people wonder how that thing flies. And this thing flies really, really good. I've shot these off my compound at 70-pound pull and could stack them at 60 yards. I've shot them off a recurve at 30 yards and can stack them. It doesn't matter what I shoot them off of. I've been able to stack these broadheads. If you notice your ferrule or whatever you want to call it here for the shank that screws into your arrow actually recesses on that head. So your arrow sits about right here, which means you got this width here and this length. That's your power tip. The rest of this is, getting shoved through. So people say, oh, that long of a head, it's going to bend real easy. It actually doesn't. Also, these heads are 50 thousandths thick, and I think they have a Rockwell of 57, Rockwell hardness 57. People say, oh, well, they're hard to sharpen. And there again, they're not. I just take a flat file, run it down one side, get a little burr, run it down the other side, throw them on an arrow. They're very, very easy to balance. And when I say about very easy, I screw them in, spin it, and they're balanced. They fly good, they balance real well, and they penetrate really, really well. I've actually got one of these on an arrow that's actually been retired. I retired the arrow and the broadhead because I've killed 50 deer with the same arrow and the same broadhead. And I said, you know what? At 50 deer, it's done its job. Let's retire the whole system. So I retired the entire head and broadhead. Because it has killed 50 deer. So if it's killed that many deer, it can retire. Another one of the heads that I started using whenever I started going back to traditional was I started using this. And this is, I want to say, the Tiger Shark. It's either Tiger Shark or the Land Shark. I really can't remember, but it's a 175 grain head. Here's another one. I think this one here, I hit a rock, I think, at the tip, and it flattened it out. So I just kind of chiseled it off like the old Bear Razor head. But there's one that's got more of a pointed tip that you can see. And like I said, these fly just as good as the rest of them. One of the broadheads I started using when I went strictly traditional here a few years ago, and that's all I've went, is I'm shooting a trad bow now. And I'm actually shooting, a cheap trad bow. I bought it off of Amazon or eBay or whatever, and it's just a takedown model. It's 55 pound pull, and I think I give like $107 for it. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to bow hunt, people. You just don't. You don't have to go out and spend $1,800 on an archery setup. You can literally spend $100 on a bow off Amazon, practice, and you can go out and kill deer with it. People want to try to make it as, archery and deer hunting costs a whole bunch of money. And I'm going to tell you, it kind of does. I couldn't tell you the thousands upon thousands I've spent over the years on archery equipment. Because, when I first started, you could buy arrows for $30 a dozen. Now they're $130 a dozen. If you can find them that cheap. Sometimes they're $130 for 6 of them. I shoot the Pierce Platinums, and I'm wanting to say they're like $80 or $90 for 6. I mean, it's just crazy what the cost of arrows are anymore. But this head here is another Simmons, and I really, really like this head. It is illegal in some states, and I'll explain that in a minute. But this is probably one of the sexiest heads, in my opinion, and that is the Simmons Original Interceptor. That is 190 grains, 1 9/16 inch cut. That thing is an absolute beast. If you look at my channel, first 2 videos I ever posted is a blood trail from one of these out of a 50-pound bow that I bought off Amazon or eBay for like $75. And it dropped a doe in about 60 yards. I shot clean through her. She was angled away from me a little bit, and I hit her a little back on the left side, and it come out right underneath the armpit on the right side, and you can actually see that shaft sticking out with that head sticking on the end of it. My wife shoots these. She shoots a Eva Shockey Bowtech, and she shoots this 190 grain head on a 24 or 25 inch, I want to say it's an Easton Full Metal Jacket, but my wife's only got a 22-inch power stroke. She's got a 22-inch draw. She's a short lady. She's got a 22-inch draw. She shot her first deer with it a couple years ago, and she put this head, quartered two, through this shoulder, in, and it went down. I got liver lung, and she put 19 inches of a 25-inch shaft in a deer at 22 yards. 19 inches. That tells you right there. I mean, shot placement is everything, but low poundage, low power stroke, you need a good cut on contact, and you need that weight out front to help push everything and help everything out. And that head right there is what done the job. The reason why it is illegal in some states is because of this back sweep here. It's considered a barbed broadhead. So like Kentucky, I think's one of them. I want to say it's either Illinois or Iowa is another one. You cannot have a back sweep on a broadhead. It has to be something like this to where it's an up sweep, or something like this to where you got an up sweep if you're shooting a traditional style head, or it's got to be straight blocked across the back, kind of like this one here. It's kind of straight across. It don't have like a barb on it like this one does. This one is considered a barbed broadhead, to where if it goes in, it cannot back out because it's got that barb on it. Indiana allows this, and I love this head. I use this head often. I will be using this head this year with my recurve, but I'll also be using this head too because I really, really like this head, and it puts an amazing hole in animals. Just phenomenal head. I don't know how many deer I've killed with one of these heads. It's over 60. And I've had one leave my eyesight, and it, died within like 10 yards of my wife. It ran through a thicket, and I lost track of it, and it died like 12, 15 yards away from her. Last broadhead I'm going to talk about is a new one a couple years ago that Simmons come out with, and this is the Timber Shark. Another 190 grain head, 1 3/4 cut. 190 grain head, and it's basically, he said it was a cut down version of the Tree Shark, and I'm going to try to put the two up against each other here. You can see that it's just a chopped down version of the Tree Shark without the big vents. Now I'll put them side by side here, and both of them are 190 grain, and they fly exactly the same. I can take these three heads, 3 arrows, put them on the same 3 arrows, shoot all 3 of them out of my compound or my recurve, and they're all going to fly identical. It doesn't matter. That's a few of the broadheads that I use and that I have used in the past. Now, I no longer use the chisel type, cut on, broadheads. I only use these 2-blade broadheads by Simmons. I do keep all these other ones because, times may get hard, and we may have to fend for ourselves and have to go out in the woods sometime, and this one will still put a deer down. This one will still put a deer down. This one will still put a deer down, and so on. So I don't ever throw away any heads unless they're just mangled beyond recognition. They're bent, ferrules bent, blades are busted. I don't throw away old heads. Where a lot of people, they'll sell them, they'll throw them away, they'll get rid of them. I don't, because you never know when you might need another broadhead. I've probably got a tray in there with another 30 or 40 that I didn't bring out, just because these are the ones I've used the most and the most often. I was trying to find a Rage because I did have one of them. I am not a Rage fan. I think a Rage is a expensive or a rich man's broadhead, because every time I've ever shot one, I either bent or broke a blade. And, you pay $50-$60 for 3 of them, and then you got to turn around and spend $40 on on blades for them And every time you kill a deer, you bend or break a blade. Every single time. And I've shot Schwackers, I've shot split fires, I've shot rages. I've shot, let's see here, what's another expandable? Trying to think of another expandable I can think of. Let's see here. Blood Runners. They was a hybrid. They kind of pistoned in and out. I think I got one of them in there. I just didn't grab it because I think I used one time and I got very little penetration with my compound. And again, the reason why I got very little penetration is because I'm only shooting 52 pounds. I don't shoot 70 pounds. You don't need 70 pounds to kill a deer with a bow. There's a video on YouTube where a young boy in Kentucky shot, I'm wanting to say it was either 19 pounds. It was either 19 or 20 pounds, and he was using this head right here without the bleeder blades. And he killed a buck at like 15 yards and and shot through both sides. Now, the arrow didn't go through and stick in the ground or nothing, but it exited out the other side, and he was shooting 19 or 20 pounds. So, people saying, oh, well, you got to have 70 pounds to kill a whitetail. No, you don't. You do not have to have 70 pounds. Fred Bear killed every big game animal on the North American continent with like a 48-pound recurve. So, it's all about arrow placement, good sharp broadhead, and most of all, dumb luck, because you know how it's got to be dumb luck for us to even be given the opportunity to take anything of any size, especially with everything that's going on in the deer woods. My TV just turned on me. Anyway, you know, with, you know, the encroachment of trespassers, or, you know, with the wind shifting on you, or a tree stand squeaking, or somebody's dog barking, or, you know, anything that could happen during the hunting season, you know, it's hard enough. Why make anything harder on us? You know, I don't pull. I used to think, oh, I needed 70 pounds, and I dropped mine down to 50. I actually have a a Matthews Chill R, and I had 70-pound limbs on it, and I traded those limbs in and got me some 50, 60-pound limbs, and I shoot 52 pounds. There's no reason to shoot 70, in my opinion. You know, I'm not out west, you know, in the plains areas in Nebraska and Arkansas and Kansas, to where you might be shooting out in the field 40, 50, 60 yards. I couldn't count. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've shot past 30 yards. So here in southern Indiana, we hunt in the hardwoods. 9 times out of 10, 20, 25 max is what we're going to get in the woods. Depending on where you're at and, you know, what kind of terrain you like to hunt. I got my pup walking up here to me now. He want me to scratch him. But, you know, most of my deer, I shoot 25 yards and in. I don't need 70 pounds to do that. 50 pounds to do the job and get the job done. But if anybody has any questions about any of these broadheads, I will be more than happy to talk with them about it, you know, and we can discuss them a little more. Again, I'm not putting down any of these broadheads. They all will do the job. I personally don't care for expandables. That's just my personal opinion. You know what they say about opinions? You know, they're like, you know, buttholes. Everybody's got one. These little heads here, not going to say they're a bad head. I've killed deer with them. I've killed deer with this one. I've killed deer with this one. You know, everything that I've showed you except for this one, I've killed a deer with. So, you know, that's just a few of the broadheads that I like and that I use. But if you'll see here, if you get a kind of consensus of what I prefer, I'm going to try to hold them up here so you can see them maybe. There we go. There's the handful of Simmons. I've got the tree shark here in the back. I got the mako in the palm. I got the timber shark up there. And I want to say that's either the tiger. I want to say it's a tiger shark, 165 grain tiger shark. And then my second personal favorite over the Tree Shark, the original interceptor. They also have what's called a fluted interceptor, which has these little cutouts in the side. I just didn't care for it as much as what I like that one. I just like that solid, you know, rustic design. But anyway, YouTube, that is a lot of the broadheads that I've used in the past that I will use currently today. I will continue keeping them, and I will keep hunting, you know, with my bow, and hopefully I can get some videos up this year of me bow hunting. That's what I'm going to work on this year, try to get me a camera and get the camera arm and get everything set up to where you can see some of my adventures. But anyway, keep watching my channel for future videos. You're going to see a lot of videos of my forestry mulcher, because that's one of the things that I like doing. That's one of the things we do as a business, is we go out and we do forestry mulching. So we're going to be putting a lot of those videos. And I'm thinking about starting a new channel just for those videos so I can keep this channel for hunting related items. But anyway, I hope y'all liked the video. Again, if you got any questions, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. God bless you all, and have a wonderful day.